Most of us know about places like the Bermuda Triangle or Mount Shasta, but scattered across the globe are other locations, far less famous, where people vanish without explanation. These aren't tourist attractions or commonly told legends even. They're hidden corners of the world where the line between our reality and something else seems dangerously thin. Today we're exploring terrifying but lesser known places where people disappeared into what many believe could be another reality. During World War I in 1915, Australian and New Zealand soldiers fighting at Gallipoli reported one of the strangest disappearances in wartime history. According to eyewitness accounts, the 4th Norfolk Regiment marched into a low-lying mist on the battlefield and just never came out. The soldiers who watched claimed they, expected to see the men re-emerge on the other side in moments, but the fog seemed to just swallow them whole. When the war ended, their bodies were never recovered, and the regiment was officially listed as missing. In total, 267 men went missing. Some skeptics argue that men may have been captured by Ottoman forces or killed in ways that just left no trace, use your imagination. But to many, the story of an entire regiment disappearing into a cloud seems to suggest something much stranger, as if the fog itself was a doorway to another world. In the tiny village of Eidsborg, Norway, locals whisper about a stretch of country road that does not behave like a normal road. Travelers claim that when driving late at night, the road seems to shift under them. Instead of leading them home, it appears to bend and curve into woods or meadows that shouldn't exist. In the 50s, 2 farmers who'd spent the evening drinking at a tavern set off along this road with their horse and cart. They never arrived at their destination. Days later, the horse and cart were found abandoned in the middle of the road. The men themselves were nowhere to be found. No footprints led away, no signs of a struggle were there. Some believe they may have stumbled into a bog or river, but others say the road itself could have opened up into another place, and the men just drove off the map. High in the Indian Himalayas at the base of the Pindari glacier is a small settlement where strange stories have been told for centuries. Travelers who hike the glacier often report hearing voices in the fog. Sometimes the voices are familiar, calling out the names of friends or family members, but those who step toward the sound often disappear. In one especially haunting case, a British officer in the early 1900s was said to have chased a woman dressed in white along the trail. His men followed behind but eventually lost sight of him. The only thing they found was his walking stick resting on a rock. He was never seen again. Villagers believe the glacier hides a passage to another side of existence and avoid traveling near it at night. To them, the fog is alive, luring victims into another world. Beneath the University of York lies the Heslington Tunnel, a long abandoned underground passage that students in the 60s once used for dares. The tunnel quickly gained a reputation after one disturbing story. 2 students ventured in late one night, determined to prove how brave they were. Only one came back out though. The survivor claimed that halfway through his friend stopped walking, got all pale, and then faded away right in front of him, as if the air itself had swallowed him whole. Police searched every inch of the tunnel, because they didn't believe the kid of course, but they found no trace of this missing student. Eventually the university sealed the tunnel off, but stories are still around. People still report hearing voices echoing beyond the walls, as though those who vanished are still trapped down there, waiting to be heard. The Mojave Desert is littered with abandoned mine shafts that stretch for miles underground. Explorers often warn never to go in, and for good reason. In the 1990s, a group of amateur spelunkers entered one shaft near Death Valley. Hours later, they came back confused and disoriented, claiming to have lost track of time. Their watches all displayed different hours, like each one had been traveling in a separate timeline. Then in 2014, another explorer went missing while filming inside a shaft. His camera recorded the descent before abruptly cutting out. Rescue teams later recovered his gear, but the man himself was gone, without a trace. Some say collapses or toxic gases have been the cause. Others argue that the mines are far older than they appear, possibly connecting to places beyond our understanding. Reunion Island, located in the Indian Ocean, is covered with volcanic rock. Beneath the surface is sprawling lava tubes carved by ancient eruptions. In the 1800s, these caves were said to have provided shelter for enslaved people fleeing plantations. Many who fled inside were never seen again. Even today, modern cavers report hearing distant chanting echoing through the tunnels, or seeing lights far below where no human should be. In 1989, 2 experienced explorers vanished during an expedition into one of the deeper tubes. The ropes were later found severed, cut so cleanly that experts couldn't tell how it happened. No bodies were ever found. Local legend insists the lava tubes are more than just caves though. They are a doorway into an underworld that doesn't seem to belong to ours. In 1923, the Brazilian village of Verde was reportedly discovered completely abandoned. A passing group came across the town and found schools with desks neatly lined up, homes with food left on tables, and weapons stacked carefully in public buildings. But not a single person was there. The population, which once numbered around 600, had seemingly vanished overnight. Government records on the incident are thin, but newspaper clippings from the time confirm this discovery. Unlike other famous disappearances, Verde never returned to the maps. It just ceased to exist. Some researchers suggest the townspeople fled from bandits or political violence. Others think the entire population walked into some other dimension altogether, leaving behind a ghost town that is just frozen in time. The Dalia Pass is often remembered as Russia's greatest mystery, but the Khamar Daban mountains hide a tragedy just as strange. So in 1993, a group of 7 hikers, led by instructor Ludmila Korovina, set out on a trek through the mountains. Suddenly, 6 of them got ill in a really horrifying fashion. They screamed, they tore off their clothing, they vomited BLOOD, and they collapsed. Only one survivor staggered back to safety, incoherent with shock. The official explanation is that it was hypothermia or exhaustion, but the symptoms don't really seem to match. Locals claim the mountains are cursed and that certain areas contain dangerous invisible zones. Conspiracy theorists argue that the hikers stepped into a toxic pocket or an energy field that doesn't belong to our reality, a place where even the air itself was lethal. In the barren desert outside Las Cruces sits a place that locals refuse to visit after sunset, a stretch of land known as the Devil's Playground. From a distance, it looks like any other patch of sand and scrub, but people who wander into it often describe eerie and unsettling experiences. Hikers will report sudden time distortion, strange shifts in light, and a creeping sense of disorientation, as if the land itself is tilting under them. Compasses fail, watches stop. Some people claim that they feel like they're being pulled in different directions at once. One of the most disturbing cases involves a group of campers who set up their tents on the edge of the playground. According to 2 survivors, their friend stepped away from the campfire to relieve himself, only walking a few yards into the desert. Moments later, he was gone. The men searched frantically and discovered his footprints in the sand, but they ended in the middle of open desert, as if he'd been lifted straight into the air. There were search parties, but no trace of him was ever recovered. In 1872, lumber workers boarded a small steamer heading upriver on the Rupert River in Quebec. Witnesses on shore claimed they saw the boat disappear into a heavy fog and never came back. When authorities searched downstream, there was no wreckage, no bodies, and no trace of the vessel. Later expeditions reported finding a patch of river that felt wrong, unnaturally still, quiet. Compasses spun wildly near it, refusing to settle. Locals began to say the boat and its crew had crossed over into another world. Fishermen to this day avoid the bend, warning that anyone who lingers there too long might vanish, just like the men aboard that lost steamer. I've been your host, James. I'll catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next video.